Well, my name is Joe Dog, born and raised in the streets of Chicago. Everybody calls me Joe Dog, but you guys can call me the MMA prediction master. All right, here I'm coming to you guys to give you an opportunity. Now with this pandemic world that we're living in, post-COVID world that we're living in, where it's hard to find jobs, it's hard to keep jobs, it's risky just going to a job. Even if you have one, you know the risk you're taking by putting yourself around people who you don't know if they have the virus or not. You could bring it back to your family. Well, here's some good news. Congratulations. If you're watching this, you've just come up on an opportunity to be able to make a lot of money, more than doctors and lawyers could even make. And mind you, you're not going to be working 9 hours a day every single year. Your work is just by watching my video and staying in, if you'd like, staying in front of the TV screen once a week for a couple hours during those fights on Saturday to watch all your fruits come to labor. So the fruits of your labor, I'm sorry. But anyways, the reason why this is an opportunity, because you're listening to somebody who grew up fighting. I started from even when I was 6 years old in karate. It turned into, when I fell in love with combat sports, I started at 13 or 14 years old at a professional boxing gym called Windy City Boxing Club. It was located on the southwest side of Chicago, one of the worst neighborhoods on Costner and Ogden. My trainer was NBC. He was an old champion. He's retired. He was a retired fighter himself, a former champion. Excellent team there. I mean, if you were a professional, you were in any serious type of organizations, you would have heard that this is the best place to train out of if you wanted to have a career in fighting. So I trained there since I was 13 years old. I used to go to the gym 12. I was the first guy in the door waiting for them to open it at 7 a.m. and I was the last guy out at 7 o'clock. 6 days a week wasn't enough for me. I trained 12 hours a day, and even then I was not happy with it. I had to buy all the same stuff I was using at the gym and put it in my house, in my basement, so that on Sunday, the only day off that they were not opening those gym doors, I didn't want a day off. This was my future. This was my life. I took it serious. So it was a full-time thing. So that gave me a huge advantage in what we're talking about, placing bets. That would have never been as successful for me if I didn't have the experience in actually starting as a fighter, but then ending up currently as a trainer. I train people to look for certain things. Like if I study tape on a fighter, I know what to look for, and I know when I see it what I'm gonna be looking at happening very quickly after I've noticed something. So especially when it comes to live betting, when I'm watching fights, I'm like, my ratio's almost undefeated. I don't get fights wrong, and I found a way to turn that into something profitable. So later on I'll show you some screenshots of my weekly bets I've done. And I didn't make this video just because I had a couple of good weeks. I waited until my system that I use to place bets has proved itself to be bulletproof. I've been setting up weekly bets out of my account that I've kept track record and records paper trail from for almost a year now, and I've never had a loss since I've started this system. So that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about, okay? It's one thing to have all the right picks. I mean, I've been a fan of the sport as well since the first UFC event when Royce Gracie was the man back in the days, beating people up without gloves. There was no weight classes, no breaks and rounds. There was no rounds in between the fight to take breaks. It was just a full fight to whoever comes out victorious. They didn't have gloves, they didn't have rules, and there was no weight classes. The smaller guy was facing a guy 5 times his size, like Dan Severn versus Royce Gracie, for example. They were not even close to being in the same weight class. Not even 2-3, it was like 2-3 weight classes difference between them two. And they were fighting, and Gracie was actually victorious that fight. So that was the cool things. I was fascinated back then, and I never missed a fight until today. So being a hardcore fan opposed to a casual fan, and then having the fight experience and training other fighters on the art behind it has given me an advantage. I've never seen anybody even close to being able to predict fights as I do. I have never gone more than or less than 80% accurate, and that's on a bad week. I usually get one wrong at best, and that one wrong I knew was a risky fight. It was one of those fights that I would have recommended people to hedge. For example, my system is such a beautiful system. I'll take out of 12 fights. It's pretty easy for a hardcore fan, even not even somebody with fight experience like myself, to be able to pick at least 4 confident picks that are for sure, and they're usually big favorites, so you have some assurance to back it up. And they're 4 biggest favorites of the night for a reason, because the fights should go 9 out of 10 times, and those are pretty good odds, and they're actually pretty accurate as well. 9 out of 10 times, you know for sure it'll go in the direction of the guy that's the favorite. So let's say you pick 4 favorites, right? Here's just one of the many different tricks I'll be teaching you the more you watch my videos. You take 4 of your most confident picks. Then there's going to be a fight. Let's use Forrest Whitaker and Gerald Cannonier for this week's as an example. It's paying $190 for each one of them, minus 190. Those odds, you're getting $100 for back out of $100 almost. You can't beat it. So what you do is you take a fight that's got great odds. You can't take this won't really work. The concept doesn't work if you're using another 5th fight as a fight that's a huge favorite versus a big underdog. That kind of doesn't work as well with this hedging system. So you take 4 confident fights, and then you put in a fight that you know could go either way, and you pick 2 different parlays. One having one winner would be Cannonier, and then the other one having Whitaker as the winner. So that way you're putting an extra $100 on that parlay, but you're guaranteeing yourself at least one of those $800-900 winning parlays will come to fruition, will end up hitting for you and cashing. So it's like $100 insurance for a ticket that's for 9 out of 10 times going to cash. So that's one trick. You know, there's other tricks that I'll be teaching. I can't give them all away in one video, obviously. So what reasons would you have to come back, right? But another thing is, like, when you have your most for sure picks and you set them up, you don't want to just put all your eggs in one basket. You got to put different variations on these picks. So if I have 7, 8, 9 picks that I know I'd like to bet on, I'm going to make 6 different parlays, putting them in different combinations. So 4 guys together, then another one with 4 guys together, then those 2 guys with a different 2 guys. And so that way, if there's 1 or 2 guys that end up blowing it for us, we didn't have to lose all our money. And so long story short, and then also you have to find another third trick is you have to find value in who you're betting. Don't just put money on the guy because you know he's going to win, because most of the time if you know he's going to win, everybody else knows he's going to win, the numbers are going to be not worth the risks that you're taking. So you got to learn how to take advantage of the value in a bet. So when a guy opens up, for example, at minus 600, but the movement turned him into only a minus 100 favorite, you know that there's value because the odd makers and everybody else seen him as a way bigger favorite for a reason. So when you see value like that, you know you're taking smaller risks and get higher rewards. You got to take advantage of that in straight bets. So my system is a combination of straight bets on only the value fighters, straight bets on confident picks, and then using those straight bets picks into different, it's kind of like a self-made round-robin parlay system that I've developed every single week for the fights. Using this system, I'm not just guaranteeing you're not going to lose. I'm guaranteeing that even if only half of our bets win, you're going to make 3 times whatever you started your bets with. So if I invested only $100 that night, I'm walking away no less than $300 on a bad day. This has been proven to work week after week after week. I don't even think I've ever came close to not making 3 times. I've had more weeks where I've made at least 5 times more than I've invested than I've had weeks where I only made 3 times. But I like to go and be modest and start with just the minimum that you can expect by taking, not just, remember, having the right picks is half the battle. If you have all the right picks, but you don't know how to implement these picks and betting them the proper way, putting them in the correct parlays, putting the right amount of money on the straight bets as well, you can even walk away not making anything. You can walk away losing money if you don't know how to implement the picks. So half my secret is the picks. The more important second half is how to make these picks profitable, how to put them in and implement the beautiful system of betting that I use every week. So stick around. This is only one of my first videos. I'm coming to help out, anybody who needs help. If I guarantee you put enough money into your bets every week, if you show enough confidence in this system, and you're going to know when you see, if you're a fan yourself and you follow the sport, you're going to know that these are not risky bets. They're not, and if you're a mathematical type of person, you don't even have to follow the sport, you just know mathematics, and you know that this system is bulletproof. It cannot fail. And the way it works, I've had weeks where every single one of the parlays hit, every single one of the straight bets hit, and I went undefeated. I won from $300, I won $6,000 and $7,000 a night. So multiply that times 4. There's four fights a month, once every Saturday. God's given us the opportunity to find a way to make extra revenue. And if you're doing it my way, you don't have to work, you don't have to invest in gold, the stock markets, all those crazy things that you're just throwing your money away and hoping for the best. And it's literally a lucky man's game. And if you're not lucky that week or that month, there's no telling you what you can lose at all. This is not luck. I'm not gambling. I'm not betting. I'm using statistics, experience with having knowledge in the fight game, knowing the style matchups. I study hours of tapes before I make these picks. I look at the weigh-ins, I look at the face-off, I look at training camps, training partners, weaknesses, advantages. Is this guy bad at being stuffing takedowns, or is he good at takedown defense? Is the other guy good at how is his cardio compared to the other guy? Is it a 5-round fight? Is it a 3-round fight? My prop bets and my underdog picks, for example, are golden. If I ever tell you to go with an underdog, I don't let numbers affect me. If an underdog who I think should lose the fight, like I've noticed a lot of the other guys who I'll be in competition with for your business, they tell you, oh yeah, you know what, the lines are too wide. This guy should not be a plus 500 underdog. So therefore, I see value. No, okay, yeah, you're right. The line may be wide. He may only need to be a plus 200, but just because they're paying more for the guy to win, but you know that he does not have the better chance of winning, why? That's not investing. That's gambling, and bad gambling at that. Not just gambling. You're throwing money away more likely than not. I don't take those bets. I don't let them sucker me in by giving me a bet that's going to be this high if it pays off rather than this high. That's not enough to influence me and sucker me into putting money on a guy because the lines are too wide. That's not value. That's trickery, and a lot of these guys are falling for that. And I hate to see you hop on that bandwagon. You just listen to me. Take my advice. Pick only who I tell you to pick. My system will not work if you venture away. If you take one of my bets and change it, one of my parlays and change it, and you lose that night, it's your fault. I just can guarantee you, you take my bets, my system, I'll show my slips before Saturday's first fight starts. I will have my slip posted. Every single bet of the night will be posted. If you just follow that map, follow that equation, you're going to win money 2 or 3 times minimum. And more often than 2 or 3 times, you're going to win 5, 10, 15 times your money back. So when you start to see that this is proving itself every week, back to back to back weeks, you're going to quit your jobs. I suggest you don't do it yet. I don't want to be responsible for that. But if it's worked 4 times out of 4 times, why wouldn't it work the other 3 or 4 times? Because it doesn't have to work every time. When you're winning at that type of percentage, depending on what you're putting into it, you don't even have to win, but there's not going to be, the question will be, how much did we win this week? Not did we win this week. My system has made it so that that's the only question you're asking, is how much did we profit this week? That's it. Thank you guys for your time. I look forward to speaking with you guys regarding this stuff again and reading your comments. And I'll be giving members a way to join me on live companions. Every Saturday I'll be doing companions, so you guys can follow in and listen to me commentating on the fight, so you see how I see it in the point of view of somebody who knows exactly what they're looking at and what to look for. And sometimes a guy who looks like he's losing the fight, if you've watched his fights and know his style, you'll know that that's big. And when the lines are moving, especially toward the favor of the guy who's temporarily winning the fights, I'll be able to help you guys put some live bets. And any gambler, anybody who knows anything about gambling knows that line movement and live betting is the most essential, crucial way to help you and ensure that you're going to win money, because that's a crucial part. Like, the numbers that sometimes you get these people at are ridiculous. Like if you know somebody's gonna gas out after the first round, here's an example. The Grisham fight, I'll show you my prop bet. My prop bet, I cashed in a $900 ticket because I picked Grisham to win in the second round. Yakovlev won the first, Antigulov won the first round. Did you think that he was really gonna win the rest? After you know he's won 24 of his 27 fights have been over in the first round. You know his gas tank is terrible. So after winning the first round, knowing how important it was for Grisham to win the rest of them, and knowing his chin, it was just, statistically speaking, no way that fight was not going to end in the second round. And I cashed in a nice prop bet for that second round finish. Regardless, it was kind of close. I was a little bit nervous, I'll be honest. 2 seconds left before the referee stopped it. But even if those are wrong, the way they pay 4 or 5 to 1, you just got to be right once or twice. Even once in the night, you're in the profits after that. Everything else is profit. So you're in good hands. Just watch me. Every time I post a video, have a reminder, because time is sensitive on these things. You got to move when you got to strike while the iron is hot. You don't want to be the last guy when the movement's already fluctuate, gone towards the other way. So pay attention to what I'm saying, and we're gonna make a lot of money, guys. Look forward to helping you guys out. Have a good one.